Hey, good morning. Can you hear me okay? Cool, cool, cool. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Good morning, Charlene. I'm going to go ahead and get started. This one is probably going to be a little bit quicker of a class, I'm thinking, because I'm really just going over the basics of what comes included with all of the dues and fees that we pay, because there's a lot of excellent resources that I think it's always good to remind people that, hey, these are available. They're very handy. They can help you farm, they can help you inform your clients, keep in touch with your past clients and anybody you are nurturing. So just good reminders. I know Katie Core does Bolt Trail. I did it. Bolt Trail does offer a lot of analytics and reports and, market reports and things like that as well. But sometimes it's good just to send it, or maybe you might like the template of one of these services better, or maybe it's more detailed information. You just, because some of them are RPR. We will talk about that a little bit. But I'm just going to highlight some of the things. We're going to start with REIN. There are a lot of things that REIN includes with our dues as part of the MLS. So, and it's a lot of stuff that people, everybody knows of the matrix. Everybody, or many people are familiar with Instinet. We obviously use Brokerment. So most of us are going to be doing all of our stuff in Brokerment for the most part. But Instinet is available for all of your contract signing and execution, electronic signatures. Relist, everybody's familiar with that. We pull the tax records for every listing. So those are things we're all familiar with, but the rest of these, I kind of want to go over a couple of my favorites. And if you have any questions, just ask. But it is going to be kind of a brief. This is where you go. And of course, both REIN and I said hurrah in the text, but really it's being a realtor, right? So the Virginia Realtor Association offers some things that are very, very beneficial. Specifically, of course, NAR does as well, a lot of our trainings and CE and different things. But those are the two I'm going to focus on today is REIN and the Virginia Realtors. So let's get started. Once you log into REIN as an agent, you log into your REIN ID, you can go to products and you see all these things. Hold on, I need to move the Zoom box out of my way. Okay. I know you guys can't see that, but that thing was right in the middle of my screen. So it's got all these other things after the top three, which are probably our most used, right? You've got Remine, One Home, MLS Touch, which One Home is really the app that you can put on your phone. Or same with MLS Touch. I think it switched over. Data Co-op, Damas Analytics, and then they added kind of this leads portal thing that I'm still playing with. So I'm not really going to go over it too much. Plus, we use Bold Trail for our CRM. But if you've got listings out there and people are contacting you through REIN, the specific MLS, they can automatically go into this leads portal. But again, they just refreshed it. They just updated it. So it's a little bit different. So I'm going to wait and do that later in the year. But one of the big ones that I really like to use is the analytics. When you're sending out, DOM Analytics basically gives us all of the market information. And it's so much you can do to it to kind of narrow in and hone in. So say you're farming a neighborhood, you can go into and you want to create, some flyers or a social media post, or you're doing a Facebook campaign or Google campaign where you're targeting a specific zip code or a specific region or a specific neighborhood. DOM Analytics allows you to get market insights for the neighbor, or not the neighborhood, the zip code, the area. So you can really kind of hone in instead of being a big Hampton Roads, Tidewater area all in one, because we know that housing prices are different on the peninsula than they are in Virginia Beach, or Williamsburg is going to be different than Hampton. So it really gives you a more concise idea of what is going on in a specific, very pinpointed down market. So it's pretty easy to use. Once you click on it, you can get for our entire, wherever REIN covers, right? This is what is going on. And this is as of November. So at the end of each month or the beginning of the next month, we'll get for the previous month. So it is, it's obviously not going to be the most real-time information, but it's pretty darn close. You can either wait for REIN to send the email out, or you can just come in and dig this information up on your own. But again, REIN sends for the entire, you see the 5 regions right here, 142 cities. So that's what you're getting in your emails, right? It allows you to select by property type. So say you have a land client, or maybe somebody's sitting on a parcel of land and they're just sitting there waiting for the right time, and you want to keep them informed. You can get rid of every multifamily residential out there and just focus on land. Same with multifamily. And then you're attached and detached. So say we got a condo, somebody owns a condo, we can go to regions, we can kind of narrow it down into regions. You see even North Carolina is here. Now keep in mind, it's not all of North Carolina, it's just going to be the agents. And I know Charlene, you're not in North Carolina, but for the agents that are, it's only going to be the agents that also list in REIN. So you do need to still use Hive MLS and do that search from the actual North Carolina or OBX if you're in that one, just for all the others out there. But let's say I want, Southside, because that's where our office is. It's, again, you see the next drop down, it's going to narrow it down even more. You can say, okay, I only want Virginia Beach. So you're going to uncheck all these. You can say just Virginia Beach. And now we can kind of narrow it down to our specific area and see what happened last month, what's going on in the market. And you can kind of get an idea, things are kind of down except for inventory is up and months of supply is up. So we're obviously been talking about this shift for a long time now. So you can see in real time what is going on. You can also choose to break it down to smaller increments or larger increments, because the default is monthly. If you want to see, year to date, what has happened, we can compare from this time in 24 to now in 25, which is going to be through November. You can tell people, okay, in the last year, it's gone up almost $10,000 from the median sales price in Virginia Beach. The active sales went up, the days on the market went up. You can basically tell your clients this when you're having your consultations, or you're just keeping them informed with what is going on in their specific market. Keep your eye on the monthly, though. I think we need to, keep watching this one. But it is a lot of good info, and it's not just for your clients, it's for us as well as agents. We need to know what is going on in our market. Obviously, in this office, we talk about it every Tuesday, whether it be mostly Stump the Broker or the monthly team meeting. Every Tuesday, we are talking about this in the office. What is happening? What is going on? What kind of situations come up? So we stay pretty informed from coming to that. But, some of you guys are full-time employees elsewhere. You've got other commitments, whatever, you're not making it in. This is a great way to kind of keep your eye on everything going on. So I really do like pulling this up and, just checking out different markets and seeing what's happening and where. Let's see what Chesapeake is doing. See, Chesapeake, we've got some more greens over here. So Chesapeake is still kind of rocking and rolling. Um, so it's something, especially right now, we need to monitor very closely and just be able to better educate anyone that is even approaching us about real estate, to know what's going on. So Dom Analytics, pretty cool. I really like that one. Again, it's great information for us to stay in the know of what is going on. So, of course, we all know Superweb. I'm going to see if I can pull up real quick. Let me unlock my phone. See if we can. Why did my phone just lock? We're going to pull up this MLS Touch real quick. And now it says lock. That's funny. So MLS Touch, that's this one that REIN provides. I do use this app often when it's just quick on the go because I am an iPhone user, and sometimes looking at Matrix from the web browser, it doesn't matter if it's Chrome on the iPhone or Safari on the iPhone, it just looks a little funky even as a desktop. So this is a quick thing that you can, if you don't have it on your phone, put it on your phone. Hopefully everybody has it, but go get it. Go and log in REIN, go to the products, MLS Touch. And this is basically our MLS in your hand, right? It's the app. It's a little bit of a dumbed down version. And there's some differences to it. One of the differences is going to be that if something is contingent, so you got home inspection or condo docs, POA, whatever, it isn't as obvious. You kind of have to dig for things. So say you're out showing with a client, and they're like, oh, I saw this house on so-and-so street. Can we swing by there while we're out looking at all these others? You're going to have to do a little bit more digging than just pulling up the address. And I'll show you what I mean. Let's see. I've got this listing going on. It's currently contingent, but when you look this up, it's just showing active, right? It doesn't tell you that we've accepted an offer and we're waiting on the contingencies to be removed. So what you have to do is a little bit of digging in these little drop downs. And you'll see right here, since it isn't obvious. Now, once contingencies have been removed and it is actually pending, this will turn orange. So it's really easy to tell that all the contingencies have been removed. But until the contingencies have been removed and it goes to pending status, it's going to show green, which to us, if in the regular MLS, green is like go, right? So it seems like it's still available. And sometimes they are. You can still reach out to that agent and be like, hey, accepting backup offers. How's this looking? But you've got where it shows you that a contingency exists, but you do have to do a little digging for it. So please click on listing details, see if it's contingent before you get people all excited, and you know what kind of conversation you're going to have with that agent, whether it's can I go show or, hey, how's things going with the contingencies? Are we still going to be able to look? So just know you got to do some digging for that. And then, of course, it'll tell you down here what kind of contingencies they are. But everything else, other than it being drop-down information, this app is pretty much going to show you like agent remarks. When you click on remarks and directions, you will see the agent and the public remarks just like you do on the MLS. You can pull up the legal and financial to see what those condo or HOA or POA fees are. All the details are still going to be here. Transaction desk, even the documents will sometimes show up. Realist does pull the tax data so you can have a quick glimpse of who owns the home and what the tax records say. Unfortunately, I'm doing this from a mirroring app, so it's not really scrolling through. There we go. But you'll see everything just like you do on Realist. You can see the history, if anything has changed, any price drops or, anything like that, just like you do on the MLS. The only big difference is going to be the contingencies are not as easy to find. So just make sure, again, because I get agents call and they're like, oh, can I go look at this? And I'm like, sure, absolutely. But just so you know, we're contingent on a home inspection. Because if they're using this app, they don't see it. So the more you know, the better informed you are. Use your eyeballs, read. A lot of people have a hard time with that. Sometimes I do too. But it will tell you if it's contingent. It just isn't as obvious and in your face as what it is on the MLS. But this is a fun app. The one other thing I want to tell people about this app is when you get listings, it will post that listing for you. REIN, you can create some fancy thing from REIN or whatever. But if you connect your app, where is it at? Facebook publishing tool right here. You can go through the motions, connect your business, your Facebook, and you can set whenever it posts. So if I have a new listing, not only is Bold Trail going to post it for me, or not only can I post it from list reports or wherever else, I also have the MLS posting it for me through this app. So connect your Facebook, tell it what to do. If you want it to share a post every time you have a new listing, or you lower the price, or if an open house is coming, or just sold, right? We do want to tell people that, hey, we are active, we are doing business. I just sold or leased a listing. So it does post this information for me to my business page. And new little trick is I actually share my business post from my personal page, so it gets a little bit more exposure. That's pretty helpful. As always, you can call me if you have any questions on setting that up. I'm going to stop mirroring my phone now. Okay. So the next big thing that I think is super important. So those are some of the, we've got data co-op here, which it shares information, which our MLS shares a lot of information anyway, but you're able to leave our area and access some different properties. It just depends on your client base. But that could be a useful tool as well. And I'm going to switch over to the Virginia Realtor Association. There's a few things here I want to talk about. One is just a reminder that, yes, we have JWL, and for your legal stuff, that's our go-to, right? We can all reach out and be like, hey guys, got a question, need answered. But they do also offer, the Virginia Realtors also offers legal advice as well. You can message them. They usually respond within a few hours. So that's just a reminder, just in case. And they actually, can be available on weekends and things like that. So, but big thing I want to make sure is there's your hotline and legal resources right there. I want to make sure everybody is aware. Where is that? Oh, maybe it's in my portal. It used to be just on the main page there. Maybe it's a member benefits. Here you go, member benefits. So all the things you get from being part of a realtor association in Virginia are right here. Like I said, the legal hotline, healthcare resources. We all love those wonderful text messages we get 15 times a day. But there are some resources because the Realtor Association did do some things to change the way healthcare works with us in specifically with realtors. New member resources, so a lot of your help, how-tos, videos, things like that are going to be there. We get, through our office, and Brent's-Bree is for property managers. But the big thing I want to talk about right here is for Warn. If you don't have this on your phone and you are meeting literally, we're meeting strangers at empty properties at all locations, anywhere. Please get forewarned. I use it very often. All of my basically people that come out, I am popping in their phone number and seeing if they are who they say they are according to public records. We are. I'm going to be kind of limited to what I can show you on this one because it is personal information and our trainings are recorded. We cannot put people's personal information on the interwebs, but forewarn is provided to us for free through Virginia Realtor Association. They started doing this a while ago. I think it's been a year or two, maybe. They rolled this out. I think it's great. If you did not do it through the Realtor Association, I believe it's like $20 a month for the app. So it is free. And it is such a good thing. But you have to log into virginiarealtors.org to be able to get it for free. You have to click on the Get Access here. Once you're logged in, they know you're a Virginia Realtor. You will have access for free. You won't have to put any more information in. You'll just have to create an account for Warren. Here's a great brochure. Oh, dang, I was hoping it would pop up. Basically, Forewarn is able to pull public records from almost all the states if the locality allows access. Some individual, I've seen North Carolina will tell you that something is there, but a lot of times it won't tell you what it is. But you can pop somebody's phone number in, and it'll tell you who matches that phone number. It'll tell you their names, any aliases that are reported. It will tell you how many phone numbers are associated with them. It will tell you property records, vehicle records, and some of it is behind. So it may, if they got a new vehicle within a year, it may not show up on Forewarn, but at least, you have an idea. Most importantly, it does show you any criminal things. Mostly, almost everybody I screen is traffic related. So it's a lot of speeding tickets or failed inspection or not expired inspections or expired registrations. But I have run into, especially because I do property management, have run into situations where, some things have come up that were very questionable that you really have to figure out what you're comfortable actually continuing to show, or to meet this person at an empty place, or do you need to bring a buddy? Maybe you're willing. Maybe you're like, hey, yeah, it happened 15 years ago. Sure, it's fine now, but I'm going to take a friend. Let me phone a friend. It kind of preps you for those kind of things while we're out there actively with the public and meeting strangers and literally, especially if you're getting leads, from your listings that call you willy-nilly, or you're getting, pay for some lead services or whatever. Please utilize Forewarn. Again, I use it all the time. It also will tell you if any court records have been filed. So if there's been any liens put on properties, especially for property management side, if anybody has had any judgments or evictions, if any bankruptcies have been filed, if foreclosures have already been filed or were filed in the past, you will see all that public court records. Basically, they pull it from any public records database that's available. You get what you get. A lot of times, and I will tell you what I found is, we have a new area code for our area. And what is it, 948, I think. The phone numbers are slowly rolling in for that, right? A lot of those brand new numbers come back as no result. They're not tied to a person yet. Maybe that person hasn't established a new credit card or whatever. Nothing's flagging on public records that this number belongs to somebody. So that has kind of been interesting to see. And, it updates eventually, but it might take some time. But you can at least know you got one more tool in your back pocket to not to feel a little more comfortable or better prepare yourself, I'm going to log in just to show you the main screen. So you can log in on the website. There's also an app. I use the app way more than I use the website. It is pretty basic. Let me log in real quick. And I'll show you what this looks like. So that's it. Enter a phone number. Boom. Put a phone number in there. Once you put in the phone number and hit search, it'll kick back anybody that's related to that number. So it could be the person you're talking to. It could be whoever had the phone number before. It could be the wife, and they list the number on all their credit applications, so it's paired together. So you do have to kind of, again, do your due diligence and do some research and make sure it's the person you're pulling up. I've run into a lot of situations, especially in property management, where people are doing fraudulent rental applications. So you can kind of compare. You can be like, oh, wait, this number comes back to somebody with 20 different addresses in 20 different states, all within 2 months. A little bit of red flags, right? Now, for screening purposes, that's usually a Zillow app. It's not actual apps, but just to see why I myself here. It's not something we can actually really go on because we do our own applications, but it is kind of an indicator if you're dealing with someone that is legitimate or not, right? You can also search by name. You do need, what I've discovered, at a minimum, first name, last name, city, state. That's going to give you the best results. If you only have first name, last name, and their name is John Smith, you're not going to get anywhere. So the more common the name is, the less you're going to be able to really get information. So you at least need some basic information. I usually, if I don't have a phone number for somebody, say they sent me an email. We all get the realtor.com emails, right? Say they send me an email and they only give me their name and an email address, and maybe I can just see if they live in Virginia Beach. I can put in their name, first name, last name, Virginia Beach, Virginia, and see what comes up. Usually it's the same names we all get because they're so clever. But we can double check things without a phone number if we need to. But if you know any of the additional information, you can, of course, put it in there because it'll give you more accurate information. But usually we're going to be searching by that phone number because they have called you, they have texted you, they've emailed you, and their phone number is included in it. So it obviously, it's got to be a US number. It doesn't work for anybody outside of the US. But please download this resource because that is very important and very helpful for us out there dealing with, again, the public. Let me go back to Association of Realtors. See if there was anything else. I do want to remind y'all that REIN does do a lot. So if you're not familiar with REIN, I feel like a lot of us are in this all the time, with the Matrix, or you're not familiar with some of their other stuff. They do have this whole learning and development center with video tutorials. They also have training, both virtual and in person, depending on what the training is, the class, when it's being offered, what's available. You can also submit a training request. If there's something new they put out and they don't have any training announced, or there's something that maybe we just haven't done in a while, you can most certainly request additional training. Sometimes they might listen, sometimes they might not. But the video tutorials are pretty helpful. A lot of these new ones are going to be for their listing updates, but they separate it by product. So you've got all of your videos. They're easy walkthroughs, literal easy walkthroughs that you can filter out different things in REIN to get the most ideal information back in the search that you want for, CMAs or listing presentations or working with a buyer client. Instinet, transaction desk. It walks you through all of the things that you would need to know really to do all of Instinet. This one is actually, these are all pretty good. Need a reminder on how to pull stuff up in DOM Analytics. You can watch videos to do that. You see it's with everything. Oh, the other thing I wanted to do, I do need to log in. This is the last one. The last one that I wanted to pull up. Sure, whatever, Google. Okay. I want to pull up RPR. RPR, I think, is a resource many of us use, but I'm finding out, especially with newer agents or agents that maybe aren't as active. These are resources you forget that we have at all. So RPR is one, let me sign in, that is offered through the National Association of Realtors. I don't remember which login I am for this. Let's see. So you don't have to get to it through here. I usually just go, but you can get to it through National Association of Realtors. You can see all your membership benefits. You can, I think that's where you would find all the different resources that NAR offers on a national level. But if you just go to, I just always search RPR. That sounds great. What is going on? Here we go. You got RPR right here. It's NAR, RPR. Go. And okay, sign in. You use your same logins as you do for the National Association of Realtors website. And again, you're able to do a lot here. I love it here. I use this a lot for CMAs. But you can search for properties. You can do prospecting, which in this time, and you see this is why I love RPR too. You don't use it very often. It just pops out like literally step-by-step instructions. So say we're farming and we want to farm for some sellers, right? Click on sellers. It comes up here. It says start by clicking research. So we're going to click on research. Click on map search. I want to farm a neighborhood. Residential is toggled. Okay. You see how it just walks you through step by step. Go with the listing I've got right now that we've got. Pull that neighborhood. I want to check it. It tells you here are the filters. Let's change it to public records because we're looking for sellers. We're at 423. It tells us to use for 500 or less, but it's fine. But you can change all the filters. You can kind of narrow down. Owner occupied. Okay. Let's say we want 5 to 10 years. That's when people move, right? 5 to 10 years. We're down to 75 properties. So these are people that have been in their property in this neighborhood for 5 to 10 years, and they may be ready to upsize, downsize, relocate, whatever. Could be a rental. It tells you here the next step says click mailing labels. You're allowed to print up to, it's a lot, 2,000 every month for free. If you go over 2,000, they charge you a little bit. Depends on how much. But you can make 2,000 mailing labels. How it was 73 results, right? In this. And you can print all these out and you can send out some mailers, postcards, whatever you want. You want to target these people, these 75 that are probably in the era of thinking about moving. They probably got good equity. They can do whatever they want, especially with the way, housing, the home values have increased. So in recent years. So, I mean, these are people sitting on gold right now, right? You want to target them. Do it for the neighborhoods. Be an expert in a neighborhood or two, target at them, and see what happens out of it. But RPR makes it super, super easy to just tell it what you want. There are different filters, such as sales price, size, whatever. You can change it to certain sizes that you want. That's more, I think I use it more for the buyer side, or CMAs, but you can change it to pre-foreclosures. If it's a foreclosure but not an auction, if it's bank owned already and it's an REO status, you can exclude any foreclosures because you don't want to deal with that mess. You've never done one before. And yes, if you've never done one before, we do require that you get a mentor for the first one. So if that might be something you may want to focus on or not focus on, and maybe you want the experience in it, whatever. But you can look for things that are open house only, which that's going to be for your sale properties. You can add all kinds of keywords. If you have a client that's looking for a horse farm, boom, you can put in a horse farm. Not going to find one in that neighborhood, but you might in Chesapeake, right? If they really want a pool, some people really want a pool. You can add that. You can find properties for your buyers, even just looking for people that may potentially want to think about selling in the future. And again, it just shows you the entire neighborhood search area for what I searched on. You can click on the addresses. The RVM is what RPR suggests it could be worth. Now, we all know that depends on condition. It depends on upgrades. It depends on a lot of different things, right? But gives you a general ballpark of what this neighborhood goes for. We're sitting on, for the most part, over $500,000 homes. So it does give you the information. You can click on view full details. You get their name. You get how long they've had it, all the details of the property itself. You can create a CMA from here. You can change the value. Say you drove by it and you know that it's fallen apart. Let's change that value, right? You can estimate equity. That one's pretty fun. Obviously, we have a net sheet as well, but we got more options. Just depends on what you want, right? There we go. And seller net sheet. I really like JWL, or the Tomahawk title, seller net sheet the best. That's my personal opinion. Very easy to read and deal with, but you have others if you want to play with it. If the property facts are not correct, say you've already been to this property, you've done a walkthrough, it's not a 5-bedroom anymore. They added a bedroom. It's now a 6-bedroom, or they removed the wall in the 2 small rooms. So it's now a 4-bedroom. You can change this manually and it can adjust accordingly to what it thinks. But again, this is a good tool in the toolbox. It is not an actual price assessment. That takes all of our tools and skills coming together. So don't take it for it's complete, it's way better than a Zestimate. I will tell you that. But it, is going to still be a little different. Let me move some boxes around again. And I apologize. I haven't checked chat. No chat. Okay, cool. Let's see. You can see the previous listing. You can see public record, deed, mortgage, and tax information. So you can find out a lot of information. They had it wasn't adjustable. They paid $278 on their loan. We can go to the interest calculator and kind of calculate what the interest could have been on average. Of course, that's going to differ depending on the credit and stuff. Um, this is a refi, so it's going to be a little bit different, but you can kind of calculate what's up and get a good estimate of what they're going to owe and just all the information we need to know to do our job, get that listing, right? Um, so, but these are the biggest ones I have for today. It took longer than I thought. I thought it was going to be 30 minutes. Do you have any questions? I know a couple of people popped on and popped off, but it's me and you now, Shar. Thanks. It is good info. It's a good reminder. It's a good reminder. Okay, cool. Good reminder just to know you got all these resources. You pay for them. It comes with your, you know, membership dues. And of course, you do know you can reach out to me if you go to play around with these things and have any questions. So, um, yeah, that's pretty much all I got. So if you don't have anything else, I guess have a have a fabulous day. Thank you for sitting through it and let me know if you need anything. And I will hopefully see you soon, Char.